Welcome to this is the 50th annual ARRL Sweepstakes for 2025 here. PVRC's plan to continue our leadership. That's this Ty Stewart, KCMM, and Jim Nisberg here put together for this presentation.
He's already talking.
Yeah, you gotta raise your volume level like you're in a pile up.
So PVRC Club Challenge. We're trying to consistently set this club record. I don't know what it is now, but it's pretty high. But with the propagation the way it is, if we get a nice quiet weekend, we should have good scores on all bands if everybody puts their butt in the chair. Clubs, if you need any information about the club circle and how that works, it's at this ARRL.org contest club tools website.
You guys hear Ty in the back, or is
They
it?
got a very closer.
Okay.
Be a speaker.
Actually, we can move. We can do this.
Yeah, that's right.
This way you can speak to
Yeah,
everybody.
you get in here too.
Well, that's the only reason I was doing it, actually. Kidding. Now you can speak to the entire audience.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna move over.
There, you can be at peace.
Yeah, right. Okay, I've been accused of wanting to show my own face at this meeting.
This is the higher sunspot year,
Mark figured out the call sign. Good.
and it should be fun. So make sure you get on.
Put yourself in there. Ty,
I can't get in
Yeah, you gotta put dinner, man.
there. Okay. We want to try to get everybody on for both modes. If you're a C, if you more appreciate the CW, try and get on for the phone, make some contacts, and vice versa.
Fine.
There's that. Okay. And there we are again. Sideband is our traditional strength, but we want to encourage to do both modes. And the club strategy, individuals set high goals for themselves. If you're going for club score, even if you don't want to go for single op high power assisted, because that's where the highest scores you can make are. And multi ops in general are discouraged for sweepstakes because we want them to get on as individual operators because they'll make more score overall. And it's a good contest for single ops to break out from the multi thing because you don't need a big station to put in a big score. You just need butt in the chair. So we really like to encourage people to use sweepstakes as a breakout single op. And we have a few exceptions, like people who use W3LPL or one of the big multis as single op stations. They share the station, it works well too. Individual operating strategies. Start at the beginning of the contest, obviously. Get on, listen to the bands 30 to 60 minutes before the start to get an idea what the bands are. I like to use DX maps for a quick look at the propagation, see where the propagation is. Look at the A and K. Plan to operate until 2 or 3 a.m. Sunday morning. Assuming you're gonna do this full time. Things will start tapering off at about 2 probably, but you can try it out. And until it gets really slow, don't give up early because it'll be slower the second day usually, especially towards the evening. Try to get back on by 6 or 7 a.m. So you want to take maybe 4 hours off and then save the leftover time for Sunday afternoon. You can take half-hour stints, get a little lunch, get back on. Because that's when things will typically be the slowest. Wait. Yeah. Why are we hiding here? Yeah, try to get rid of that thing. All right. This is still individual operating strategies. Test out all your equipment far in advance of the contest dates as usual. Have all your function keys tweaked and tested ahead of time. Make sure your sideband audio is optimized. Be sure and get on. We usually have 1 or 2 sound checks on the air. You can ask people how you sound. We'll put them together and you can check the PVRC reflector. We'll have some published meetups for that. Remember, sweepstakes is all about rate. So whatever you do to keep your rate up is always good. Don't chase multipliers because they will typically come to you if you put enough butt in the chair time. When you get down to the last one, yeah, okay. And then if you're assisted, it's always tough. It's always easy anyway. So don't worry if you're assisted. Just work the first half of the contest without chasing multipliers. If you have anything left, I'm sure you can find it afterwards. Using doing assisted. Be accurate. Don't mess up the call signs. Because there is a penalty. ARRL does give you a penalty if you mess up the call sign. I think it costs you another 2 QSOs. And if you mess up the exchange, it just costs you that QSO. So that's not as important, but you should still try to get it right, of course. Sideband SO2 operators, you want to try to always be calling CQ on at least one radio. At least that's my general rule.
And sometimes too.
Sometimes, yeah, a lot of times too, especially on Sunday afternoon, if you things get really slow. It'd be easier to handle alternate CQs because you won't be working both radios at the same time. Nobody will be calling you on the same time usually. If you're running Piper, remember I put in this little note here about ready to try Piper if you're getting ready to do the synthesized void text to speech thing. Be fun to do it. I don't think it's going to be a big advantage for sweepstakes because of the long exchange, but it could be fun to play with anyway if you're ready to do that. I may or may not. I'm not sure if I will or not. Tim can probably chime in on that. I'm sure you will. Tina,
Come close if you want to chime in on it.
Tina will be on in phone sweepstakes, yes.
okay. So watch out for Tina / Tim on sideband. If you're assisted in CW, grabbing panels with both radios can be very productive if you're very efficient at it. It can also be very good if you can do it 2BS IQ, which is where you're calling on both radios, but it's a little tough with the long exchange because you definitely get in the way, and the consistency of the time coming back is always a lot different depending on who's calling back to you and asking for repeats and stuff like that. But it's worth a shot. And this is an old strategy. It still holds. Do not, when this contest starts going, you have a good rate. Do not try to work out the weak stations. Just wait and work them later. Because the long exchanges, it's likely you're going to have to ask for repeats and stuff. You don't want to have to do that. So if they're really weak and you have other people calling you, don't try to work the weak ones. My general rule for the East Coast is to get on the next hot lower band fast.
Somebody's waiting to get in.
Yes, they want TRT.
You can use page up and page down, you know.
Yeah. There you go. Now I know how to get rid of that when it pops up again.
Let's see, go next lowest band, next lower band fast. Mark your spot on 20 when you get there. Try to get there early in 40 especially because 40 on sideband is really tough. Sideband in general is tough, but 40 is especially tough. You would try to stake out a place there early and try to guess where the broadcast stations aren't going to pop through and where the pig farmers aren't going to pop through. That's more on the 75 thing though. But I've used weight spots way up high in the band, like 72, 85, and up there pretty well, and lots of 2x3s. If you can, you'll probably want to start down low. Don't have to be in the general band, especially the first night, but it's always helpful. And people calling you and don't really know what's going on, make sure you take the time to tell them what's going on and tell them what you need and be polite. It's always a good thing for us contesters to cooperate with them and try to encourage them to participate. Play your station strengths. You only get to contact each person once, so don't worry about band coverage for California on 80 meters. You need them on 15 and 10, basically, or 20. But whatever you have for a good antenna, use that a lot of times. You have a good 75-meter antenna like Tim here. And me, you can run a lot on 75 or 40. 40 is usually a really good band for sweepstakes, no matter how the propagation is. Probably not so much on sideband, but definitely on CW. Don't get psyched out by others with high numbers. Slow and steady, especially on phone, can get you a very top score. Just keep your butt in that chair. Try to work the shorter skip band that supports high rate. That's typically, you want to be able to work back into the Northeast from here. So you want to get to 75 and 40 early before it gets really long. So you can work all those Connecticut guys, New York guys, and stuff like that. They'll hear you. And if you use packet or skimmer, don't waste time in pileups. Call later if you can't get right through. Come back and work them later. Station strategies. As usual, you want low efficient antennas for sweepstakes, dipoles and vertices at 35 to 50 feet. Big grade SS antennas. The high MUFs, low K, and some short skip 10 and/or 15 could be really hot bands. But you don't want to get stuck in a trap there where California's running like crazy and you think you're going to be able to run crazy. If it doesn't work, don't stay there. Just work the next lower band. 20 meters would definitely likely be working well with short skip during the day here. So maybe the best place to start on Saturday afternoon. And then like here's my warning about 10 or 15. They can sound excellent, but typically it's 7s and 6s that are running like crazy because they're working back the East Coast where all the population is. And you're not gonna be able to work them on 10 and 15 unless the skip gets short. So you just have to keep an eye on 10 and 15 because they can get short where you can work them, but it's kind of rare. On 75 and 80, you want to have a receive antenna like a Beverage, VU. I have a 9 strip, which is really nice, but I can't use it on 2 bands at once. Can't be on doing SO2R with that, so I have a Beverage too. And you can use it on 75, maybe at 40 if it's really noisy, it might be better on 40 with it. But you have a low antenna on 40, it's probably better. Northeast, southwest, northwest are always good, important directions. Maximize your comfort. Keep snacks, drinks, aspirin, Excedrin, and your piss jar handy.
And
Yes. So you don't have to leave, especially on
You're
sideband.
supposed to keep a bucket there too.
I have a mug. I only use it I only use it if I have to keep a sideband frequency. I only use it on CW frequency. Go low early. It's my rule, and usually works. And we talked about this in the last slide. We're probably going to start on 20 from here, so you can work some short skip, and then 20 and 40. 80 could be good, but it's going to be pretty tough this year because the sunspots are so high. You may not get that much great time on 40. I mean on 80, but it still should be good. 40 meters, especially in the morning on Sunday, can be very good. Just start on 80, 75, and then move your way down to 40, and then things get slow there. You can work up to the high bands. 40 is usually very good Sunday morning. It can work until like noon. Yep, I think that's it.
Press that right arrow instead.
Right here. Okay.
That thing right there.
Okay.
These guys were.
Okay.
Clear.
Skimmers and reverse beacon network have changed the CW game, as we know. SO2R using dual pouncing can achieve very high rates. Probably as fast as running if you're not having constant calls on CQs. You do very well calling people, especially on the IR bands if you're up there on 10 and 15. That's the best place to do it. Bounces with one ray can do almost as well as runners. Relatively high quality of spots compared to the old style packet on CW. CW, you can almost guarantee it's going to be a good call because it's skimmer slots. Phone, you don't know. Phone, you have to make sure you copy that call. Yeah, it can be very bad. And when you put them out on phone, make sure you're right. See, that's better. For less experienced operators operating the assisted class, you call CQ at your preferred speed, higher in the band, and grab the pounds by clicking spots. If you're very new, you can preload the call sign, listen to the exchange once or twice, you know what you're gonna get except for the serial number. If you have any problems with that. Use a history file is optional, but it's very good for pre-filling. It's usually correct. Can be used as a filter to make sure you have the call sign correct, because if that matches, then likely you have the call sign correct as well. So you can cross-check using that.
It's not perfect.
Not perfect, but that's good. It's a good help.
Still have to.
Yep. And be accurate. Don't be afraid to ask for repeats if you're not confident about it. Here's more about using skimmer for sweepstakes. Add reverse beacon network to your packet nodes if they aren't already there. This is what I do. Run your own private skimmer.
Huh.
It's the best way to do it because you know that you can hear them well. If you can set your filter on your own skimmer for a certain signal level. Use filter. Use a filter. Use a master DTA or whatever to filter the calls. I've got Flex, which looks at IQ.
Thank you.
Anyway, so if you can run your own skimmer, you can use the CW skimmer software, or in the case of Flex, you use SDC, which is really built around the Flex, and it has its own skimmer software, which works really well. I use it for CWTs and sweepstakes and all the contests that are CW and ready too. And usually V7CC, or I use W3LPL some, but I usually use V7CC because they're filtered better. Let's see, we got that. Consider adding filters for skimmers for where they're coming from with sweepstakes. You can look at the section reports, and usually use a timeout of 5 to 10 minutes. 15 minutes for sideband, because you want them to go away. They're kind of rare to get the sideband spots. You want them to stick around. And but again, make sure you check the call sign, make sure it's right, because you will get a lot of busts towards the end. Everybody gets skimmed when they're calling CQ, which means everyone has run potential. So remember that if you want to run. And remember, we can now spot ourselves for its ARRL contest. So you can put in the spot me command, and that can be very helpful, especially on sideband. Huge help on sideband. I wouldn't really recommend it on skim on CW. You can, but you'll get skimmed pretty easily on CW, unless maybe unless you're QRP or something.
You want to make a comment about what the AA3B taught everybody how to do with DL stroke W, you know?
Yeah, how about the
DX
German spotting you?
the DX contest.
Oh yeah,
You know about that?
No,
That's
I
African.
know.
It's not apropos.
It's not necessarily.
It's not
Yeah. So on Sunday, when all the guns have worked each other, they'll be looking for modded stations. You'll get a huge pileup because show up towards the end, even if you're a modded station, if they can hear you. Stop working.
That's not working.
Yeah. Oops. But that's okay. Setting N1MM up to spot all search and paths QSAs, you can do that. If you're running unassisted, you can put that in. And here it is in the config menu, spot all SMP QSAs. So once you work it, it'll automatically spot it. You don't have to be using them yourself to do this. And that's a nice thing to do. Very important for sideband, self-spotting per minute. We just talked about this. Use the spot me macro in your N1MM F keys for your F1 CQ. Make sure you put it in there, and it'll tell you, it'll have a counter. It'll only do you every 10 minutes. So, or if you change frequencies, it'll also reset.
This doesn't work too. I used to do that. So if I have more than once every 10, it doesn't work anymore.
It won't let you.
No, it's if you do a manning spot on it now, it still runs the timer.
Really? Yeah. Okay. All right. So anyway, that's a big plus using the spot me macro if you're when you're running sideband trying to run, especially on an odd band or high in the band. They may not find you. This will be a big help. Great thing for great thing for equalizing the changing out the playing field. Okay, what's the HMO? What's an HMO?
That's isn't that that's something I used to do back a few years ago.
Highly motivated operator. That's the thing Jim's done. That's where you start out the contest in one location and then you move to another location at another station that's not being used. That way you can have good runs on both days. Sacrifice your own individual score for using two call signs for the club score. And
Very few.
yeah,
But
only
they're
crazy people like him. Only crazy people like Jim will do that. But if you want to, when you do get better runs on Sunday when you do that.
Maximize.
Yeah, so WX3B has borrowed my call sign KF3P Saturday, and then from HVX, which doesn't exist anymore.
Right. The data presentation.
Yeah, and makes 1,000 queues in the 75 sections, which is not up to date either. It's 80, what's 80
Yeah.
now?
Well, no, I'm saying I didn't make a sweep.
Oh, you
It
didn't?
was called.
Oh, okay. All right. And then he goes to his end station, does the other 1,000 for 82 sections, right? That's how the HMO works. If you're interested in doing it. Parallel operation is what Frank runs in his place with usually Amy and W3 IDT. Annie,
Some
yeah,
Bob will be
Annie.
on the site. Bob's gonna be out of town, so
Oh, yeah.
Who's gonna be there instead?
you gotta find out.
But Bob's on frequency here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
here.
Yeah. Who's taking your
Uh,
place here? Thanks.
I don't know who's taking my place. I will be away both for the CQ weekend coming and both sweepstakes. And I don't know who Frank is replacing me with.
So you may have a spot open over there. Is Andy going there? Or who's the other person there? Huh? Andy?
And
Okay, anyway. Frank does his parallel operation where he has this huge station and you can have individual radios antennas to use for each station. So he can have two or maybe even three people operating sweepstakes on different bands there. If you have multi-two, you can support a parallel effort. Sweepstakes
Yeah,
history. Whoop.
I was going to say, listening to the crowd, what we usually do is two people and we start on, say, 20 and 40, and roughly every hour we switch bands. Okay.
Right. There's a cross-check, double-check tool. You can either check the exchange after or if you're sure about the call sign, you can make sure the exchange is correct using that. Or if you're not sure about the call sign, if the exchange matches, you can pretty much guarantee the call sign works. Of course, the only thing that doesn't help you with is the number. You gotta make sure you get that right. And PVRC's big push this as in every year is get everybody on. Online meetings, and before the sideband week, I like to get on the air and do the audio checks, make sure everybody's F keys are set up right. Chapter leaders can check around with they know what's going on in their area. They can check around with other people if they need help doing antenna work beforehand or anything like that. They can reach out to them and see if they can help. Try to get everybody on and stay in the chair, button in chair. And if you're available to help with somebody with a station problem, if they have a station problem, put them in the antenna or anything, or need some help, like look around and see if you can help somebody do some station building, or you might be able to donate a station if you can't get on for some reason. And we're after we're done, we always send in the log. Make sure you send in your log and make sure it's marked for Potomac Valley Radio Club, not PVRC.
It's not FRC.
Pizza Valley Radio Club.
Pizza contest.
Make sure you spell it out, and it's due in 5 days, so make sure you get it done right away. I always try to do it the same right after contest is over. And there's the address, the email address. I mean the URL for the submitting your log. And make sure you get a receipt back and make sure there weren't any errors when they got it. Fall 2025 propagation, what to expect? We don't know. We guess, but we don't know. 2015 will likely be your best daytime band from here. 2040 will be your evening bands. 20, you start out at 20 and then probably at about 9 or 10 o'clock, unless it's disturbed, you'll want to move to 40, maybe earlier. Remember 40 has no broadcast station below 7.2. And 7.178 is the cutoff for general allocation. And remember your lower sideband, so your modulation goes 3 kc basically below wherever your dial set. You notice how many people end up out of the band. But I've had very good luck on high on 40, and like I said, at the high end of the general band, if things are too crowded down below, because you'll work a ton of 2x3s. Just trying to keep it casual. Don't be calling too fast, because otherwise, if they ask you to slow down, you're going too fast. And just try to speak a little slower and clearer, and make sure you take the time to talk them through the exchange if you need to. The 40 to 80 meters late at night until 2 or 3 a.m. local time. And 80 can go long at times and can shorten, hopefully usually shortens up there for midnight, but it's never guaranteed. Just check it back and forth. If you're only running 40 or 80 and 20 shut down, just whatever sounds right, see if which one's working short and probably stick with that one. 10, 15 meters can go short, which is where you want to be if they do go short. That can be independent of the long haul skip into California and the West Coast. So you want to keep an eye on the propagation there.
160 is useless.
Yeah, do not go to 160. Yeah, it's at the bottom there. Yeah, we used to say you can try 160. I wouldn't even bother trying this year. Potential operating schedule for ideas for 24-hour operators. That's full time. Start on 20, move to 40 early, then to 75 and 80 if 40 goes long. This is more useful on the phone weekend. For CW, you can always find a frequency. It's not a problem. But when you want to find frequency, and if you have a good one, try to hold on to it. Don't bother with 160 this year. When the rate drops, take a break at 2 or 3 a.m. local. Be ready to get back on around 6 or 7, like we talked about earlier. If you think a rate will improve on Sunday, you're probably wrong. So make what you can until the 2 or 3 a.m. mark. This gets really slow. The part-time operators, Sunday's likely to be your most interesting day because they'll be looking for you for QSOs, especially if they know where you are. So make sure you're running the spotting software. You're doing the spot me command for your sideband, and if you're getting skimmed on CW. 40 will be, and 75 will be great evening bands. 40 will be really good day and band Sunday morning as well. Although maybe end up being 20 this year because the sunspots are so high. But anytime you get on, it's better than not getting on at all. Low dipoles and 500 watts equals big scores. Make sure you put the button chair time. That's the most important thing about sweepstakes. K3WI is silent key now prior to winning formula for make 1,000 sideband queues in about 12 hours on sideband. You did it with 1,500 watts on wires. Jump on Sunday morning with a kilowatt and start calling CQ. 80 and 40 are particularly good out before sunrise, especially if you're a fresh meat. This would be well before sunrise this time of year. Might be more like 20 this time. Since all big guns are already working each other, this is nonstop fun run fest.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
That's
fun.
your comment, yeah.
Didn't we hear that?
Part-timers with modest stations succeed by showing up on Sunday because they wanted by everyone. This is part-time maximum fun per hour technique. Works on CW as well. There's summary of hints for part-time low power stations. Late Saturday, all day Sunday are most productive times. Second hottest band might be actually easier if you make QSOs on, if you're a weak one. And as long as you get spotted. Avoid large pileups. If you're going around calling people, avoid large pileups. The new stuff may not actually work, may not actually work easily. So, unless your last one you need Alaska or something, maybe you want to spend a little more time on it. But you generally don't want to spend any time. You call them once or twice, they don't come right back. Come back and later. I generally don't even follow the multiplier list. I just sweep up and down the band using control alt arrow up and down, find the new ones, or then just control up and down arrow to find anyone I need. If I'm going around spotting them, I don't bother pulling them off the list. You're pouncing, listen and pre-fill the parts of the exchange so you can copy the entire exchange pre-call. Which is a bad second radio strategy if you're busy running on the other radio. There's the sweepstakes dates. November 1 and November 3, 21Z. And that
Week and a half from now.
Yeah,
It's almost here.
yeah,
It's right after CQ Worldwide, no break.
yeah. Remember, operating no more than 24 to 30 hours. Off times must be at least 30 minutes in length. And listening time supposedly counts as operating time, although it doesn't show up in your logs online first that. 5-day log submission deadlines, and do it right after you get done with the contest, maybe the next 24 hours. And it's now online at this URL, contestlogsubmission.arrl.org.
Are there any band changes? Band changes, how often you can change bands? For a single op, you can do whatever you want. It's basically what- For a multi-op, I'm not sure there is.
Is there a 10-minute rule?
Yes.
I'll look it up.
Okay.
Is there a band change rule for multis? I don't remember either. I never done a multi on sideband on the SS. Go PVRC! Yay!
And ask them if they're online to stay on so I can log them.
Okay. If y'all are online, please stay on so you can log the attendance. By the way, we have, as part of this the presentation, we have some suggested audio settings for sideband that came from various people. This is K3 transmit settings. I'm sure this will be up on the website if you haven't seen it already. Is there more? This is transmit setting from KW3KL. This is FT1000 MP settings from who knows how long ago. Still works
Does
though.
anybody even use an MP anymore?
Yeah, does anybody
We
stop
should probably
with that?
delete that slide.
1000 MP.
Come to W3AO field day. Oh, boy, yeah.
FTDX 5000 and FTDX 101 transmit audio settings. Lots of people using those. You can check with Frank. There's lots of people using those radios. They're great on sideband. IC 7300, 7610, Aircraft K4 from Rick, N1RM.
Greatly improved. Flex.
Am I great? My greatly improved notes about Flex Radio 6600. This has a complex setting that I've used before, which it works well, but it's a really complicated mess. This is much simpler using them on my USB and computer audio. So they'll all be up on the website, so you can check them out. And there's some more notes about the Flex.
What happened to the K3 program?
They're there.
They're in there.
They're in there.
Yeah, I can say with 80% confidence that there's no band change.
K3.
Oh, I missed.
You look at the rules,
NBKS and PVRC, same as last year.
that's more confident than I can state.
Anybody have any questions? Kate?
Spot.
Spot me.
Function key and just type that in.
Put it at the start of your CPU.
If you have one key,
Keep track of whether you're spotting the last.
Okay, got it.
yeah,
Just type that.
just try it before the contest, try it out. It's very easy. KB3Z, you have a question?
Hi, I would give advice on the Flex radio. If you want to set your voice equalizer, put your radio in the full duplex, like on 40 meters. Use the one slice to transmit, the second slice to listen to, and you can talk through your microphone and hear how you sound. To
Right.
me, that's the best way. These settings are great, but let's put it this way. That's the only way that I would say to you that really works. You got to listen to yourself, because how somebody else hears you could be totally different.
Yeah, if you have your second radio, your own second radio, it's a very good way to test it.
Are there any flex users in this crowd?
Using Flex, right, Mark? Yeah.
Yep, I have an 8400M.
Yeah, right. No, I just want to know because you're gonna, I have to rebroadcast that because there's nobody here that can hear.
All right. Does everybody hear that? Things in here?
Any
If you have a second radio, doesn't matter if it's Flex or
Yeah.
not, but you can transfer on one radio and listen to what your audio actually sounds like on the second radio and the receive audio. Because the Flex, a lot of the monitor audios don't accurately reproduce what's actually coming out on the air. So it's very good, very important to get an on the air check, and those, if you have a second radio, you can actually listen to your own, and it'll be a good representation of what you really sound like. These settings on here are just typical starting points. Depending on your voice and your microphone, you might want to change them, but these are just typical starting points for people as a hint. Any other questions? Going once. Going twice.
We will post this presentation on the website, at least the slides, and depending upon the quality of this recording, that will be posted as well.
Good.
Good, Mark.
One thing I would say, not that I'm the chief promoter for Piper TTS, but let's put it this way. I operated that during the Workstall Germany, and I had 115 contacts in about 4 hours. Probably not a great rate, but 10 meters was my go-to band. And I would say that I learned a lot by just running. 95 of my 115 contacts were running with the Piper TTS. And I learned a lot of little improvements from, posting my function key settings, on the reflector. And I would say if you don't like talking into the microphone, Piper is a great way of trying sideband if you really don't like to talk into the microphone. And I think that if you had things set up and you take your time, like I would say, if you're going to try and use Piper, get yourself set up either tonight or tomorrow and give it a test and see how it works for you, and then go from there. But I would say that would be, I already have the function key settings already built for most of all the sideband contests that PVRC, operates in. So it's really not that hard. There might be a change in your CQ. There might be the exchange difference. Yeah, there is going to be an exchange difference for the different contests. But if you'd like to try it, I would say now is the best time to get yourself set up. And I think, like I say, I used it, and the last time I looked on 3830, I was the third highest in the nation for single sideband only in the WAG. And I feel happy about that, even with 115 contacts.
Well, thanks for putting up those F keys. We put up several lists of F keys for the Piper. It's very helpful.
Yeah, I saved mine. I saved that email.
Are you using your own voice? Or did you use one of the canned ones?
I used one of the canned ones. I used the one guy who had the, I think, HKC after it. And like I had said in my comments, I had a lot of non-German stations come back to me and would say to me, Mark, your audio sounds great. The computer voice that you're using is great.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I did have some, excuse my English guys, a bunch of smart Alex who were from the US who said, why don't you use your own voice? Well, needless to say, I did not respond to them. I probably could have told them to go blow it out your you know what, but I wasn't going to do that. And, I found it to be a great experience, and I'm totally in favor of it. I mean, I admit Tim has a much better system with Tina and more flexibility, but let's put it this way, Piper is a great second choice. And if you don't really like operating or running in a sideband contest, Piper is a great way to get yourself into it and get yourself a little bit more involved.
Right.
And I'll let it go at that. I've said enough.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I worked one guy in the WAG that was obviously using the synthesized voice. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it was, you could tell there's little hesitations and stuff. I said, "Hi, Piper." Because I knew that's what he was running.
Well, I figured this, that if I really wanted to get drastic and be like Tim, where he changed his name to Tina, of course, for Mark, I would probably change my name to Marsha.
Right. It's definitely going to be a big thing when people get it all tuned up exactly, so you can't really tell if it's a real person or not. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. And with the shorter contests like CQ Worldwide, it'd be a big boon to SO2R. Because that one you don't really need the exchange. It's built into the call sign. You just get the call sign and go. Any other questions from the peanut gallery?
Local platform.
I think we're done.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good
Yeah.
luck. Get on. Button chair.